Hey everybody, welcome back to UR Free TV. It is Monday, April 6th, 2026, Easter Monday here. I'm so glad to be back with you here on the channel. I'm going to jump right in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. And so thanks so much for being back with UR Free TV. I always start by saying thank you. Thank you to Giovanni for the donation. So appreciated. Thank you to everybody supporting monthly. You make this channel happen, and I'm so, so grateful. And I will plug for my awesome sponsors, C60 Evo, at the end of the video. But I want to jump right in here. I actually do want to talk about Easter for a moment. It's just so good every year that we get this reminder of how we have eternal life through the resurrection and how incredibly uplifting that is. And it's so perfectly put here at Easter as, it's kind of the ramp up, as the year goes on, what it means to basically do this thing where we confess our sins, right? And then we have the redemption of ourselves in Jesus Christ. And then we have the promise of the resurrection, the eternal life, the restoration to who we're supposed to be in our souls as our highest selves. That basically, if we can get out of our lowest emotions, our emotions generally that just guide us towards sin, then we get back to our virtues, right? And get back to our cognitive thinking and get back to controlling our minds and our lives towards doing right action, right? And the full armor of God and being warriors for the Prince of Peace. And so it's very exciting here to be gone through Easter. I hope you had wonderful times with your family and your communities. And so I'm going to jump into the news here because it is obviously timely. What's going on now. And I think I'll just put the glasses right on and get into it because, of course, we're still in this period where people are still knives out for Trump, still Ides of March. In the past, basically, really, I'm seeing mainstream independent media coming out and saying Trump should be kidnapped and put in the bunker underneath the ballroom and have JD Vance take over and all kinds of crazy stuff that people are saying, thinking Trump is out of his mind. And what what you saw on the thumbnail is Trump coming out today and saying, I actually have the best plan ever, but I'm not going to tell it to you here at the mainstream media. And people forget that the people who's leading the information war and what's really going on here is this mass social engineering control of who can, flip MAGA, who can turn us all against each other, who can create this scenario where there's just total division versus Trump basically being kind of the master here at the control of the media and needing to do so right now. This gets into why there is a need for the Iran war, why there is all kinds of diversions going on here in what Trump is saying. This is always because there is no trust in the media. There is no, for one thing, not going to give away what actually is going on for what's about to happen with Iran, what's about to happen with the Straits of Hormuz, what's about to happen with Bilderberg coming up at the end of this week, and the NATO meetup on Wednesday here at the White House, and Mark Rutte, the Secretary General, then going on to Bilderberg, this connected with Greenland, how he has trolled NATO the entire time, basically with the Iran war, with their inability to show up or be part of it in this negotiation for what's happening with Greenland. This is a whole other part of this that people aren't talking about or understanding. That is massive. And it gets into the control of the Arctic. Basically, it gets into the creation of what Trump wants with the Golden Dome, but it is basically also the new doctrine of the Trump presidency to do militarily with hemispheric defense and what it means to create a protection against all adversaries, and this could get into interplanetary, we don't know. But basically, this gets into taking over Cartel Babylon's control, City of London's control, trillionaires' control over the United States and also the technology that's fueling the future. And we wish, I'm basically a Luddite. I can't even stand being online, but it's happening. And so who's going to control it is very important. And so Greenland is very, very essential in this. And so behind the scenes, we have Trump still hugely with the whole NATO diversion. Oh, the UK, they wouldn't get behind the Iran war. Germany now is saying to its military age men, hey, if you're leaving the country, you have to let us know in case we want to conscript you for World War IV. These kind of things going on. And that's all very important, very intense, because the reality is that the globalists are still wanting to fight the USA's freedom campaign, which is Donald Trump's entire financial war. That is what Iran is about. That is this whole thing, of course, with leveraging his information war on NATO, and plus the reality that NATO is, as he says, a paper tiger, that they won't show up for the USA. It's all baloney. It's all completely the reverse. That the USA is a giant cash cow, military cow for what is, of course, the Atlanticist, the rules-based order, which is, as Robert Kagan, Victoria Nuland's husband, right? They are a Trotskyite, their lineage out of Ukraine and the surrounding area there in Russia. That's where they're from. They're part of all of the same group. But Robert Kagan is Victoria Nuland's husband. Came out in the Atlanticist over the weekend saying America is a rogue superpower because they won't support the liberal world order. That is what America is supposed to do. It's supposed to support, basically that the EU for so long funding all of these policies and all of their social welfare infrastructure that they've done for so long has been on our backs, while they have used the USA to go create this economy of sin, go in with the CIA, with all of their intelligence operatives, but with our money and our soldiers and our intelligence teams to overthrow countries, do all of this to fund what is the City of London and the economy of sin out of Cartel Babylon, where they make their trillions in this trafficking economy that they have. So Trump has leveraged this against them for this Greenland thing. And that's going to be happening hugely with Rutte. And we saw with Keir Starmer meeting up in this, remote viewing call, not remote viewing, but you know what I mean? Like a call that they all did together, as they know that that Trump behind the scenes with the leader of Denmark, and also you have, of course, the Prime Minister of Belgium coming out kind of strongly about what is going on here with wanting to re-embrace Russia energy, all of this. This is all very, very interconnected. And so this is all super connected with what Trump's doing with Iran. And as I started out by saying, this information control that Trump is doing that seems chaotic with his effing, Allahu Akbar or whatever over the weekend, this diversion campaign in Iran, I think we're going to see some pretty very, very advanced military operations that will come out of this, as Trump is, threatening to take down their infrastructure, to decimate the country. People keep referencing Israel's bombing of Lebanon as being that the U.S. is doing that somehow. And, I can't stand it. I think it's awful. I'm against war hugely. But what I need to say here and help people understand is that we were never going to complete the American Revolution against the City of London and its takeover of our country in the last 100 years without war. It wasn't going to be some magic, abracadabra thing there was going to be war, and there's going to be threat of war, and that's what the tariffs were about. And Trump leveraging the tariffs right now in Europe in the same ways to do with this Greenland push that he is doing. And then we get into the AI, we get into all of it. It's huge, it's massive. The Golden Dome, everything. The missing General McCaslin, right? Who's in charge of everything UFO, missing for now like 2 months. I think we don't. I don't think he's dead. I think he's gone underground. That he's gone into whatever special projects they're doing, along with his two assistants that also went missing. That are, that have been specialists in memory metals and these alloys and just advanced breakaway technology to do with whatever is coming. And I wish we could not have to do any of it. I wish that we could, not have any of this going on. However, it is going on, and it's who's going to be on top of it. And so, as Trump keeps misleading the media and setting everybody's hair on fire, I think what we're going to see here, and what we saw with the diversion over the weekend with the downed, the downed F-35 or whatever it was, and the pilot and the second weapons specialist officer, rescue. He's watching who's leaking. He's watching what's going on. We saw leaking about, well, no, there was also a uranium operation that was going on at the same time over the weekend, a uranium recovery operation. But this whole situation of I'm going to, BOMB them into the Stone Age, and how they diverted so much of Iran's focus into what was going on with the missing officer and the capture, the bounty offered, all of this, that there's a much different plan that the U.S. military is planning. That's why Trump said, I have the best plan ever, which will end up being the Strait of Trump. Okay, it's going to happen. And it's going to take away the City of London's control over world shipping that has to do with the assurance of not only the U.S. dollar, but the U.S. energy dominance in the world. Because what stands here, what is happening, is that the U.S. is the #1 producer of gas, oil, and LNG. And we're going to see the petrodollar expand into also including natural gas. And so this is a financial war, and it was always going to have casualties. And Iran, as Trump has been saying so much, and that's coming out that it's way higher than a few billion, that Barack Obama brought out of emptying the banks in DC and beyond, to present for the JPCOA. No, it's more like 180 billion. Huge amounts of money for Muslim Brotherhood control through the City of London. Okay, that was the Islamification, to do with major jihadism and the spread of it through NGOs, through the US and Europe, and all of that going on. So much through Iran, but also other proxy areas. We also have Trump coming out and saying, hey, we gave a bunch of weapons. We thought we might arm some Iranians, to try to help. This focus on Tehran is kind of bogus. That's a central hub. Obviously, it's Tehran, but there is at least like 30 other spread out locations, okay, of the IRGC across the nation, with independent, it's kind of like a fractal. It's like a fractal, I'll just say that, where every unit is the same as the larger unit, with the same amount of IRGC and backups and missile launchers and missile systems, missile building capabilities, all of this, all spread out. So that's ongoing. But this thought that they're going to BOMB Iran into the Stone Ages is not going against the civilians. And what Trump was saying when he said, we gave a bunch of weapons to somebody, on the Kurds or somebody, we gave them, and they decided to keep them. And he's saying that to CNN, the New York Times. He's saying that in a presser, okay, at the Easter egg hunt and during his or Easter egg roll, whatever you want to call it, and then his military address today update with Hegseth, and of course General Kane. And we need to understand that this is he's purposely misleading the mainstream media. He's purposely telling people this because he's saying, I'm not going to tell you my plan. I'm not going to tell you what happened. We gave a bunch of weapons to somebody, but I guess they kept them. I didn't want him to do it, but they kept him. It's, we don't know what happened to him. I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. And I'm really surprised at so many alternative pundits that are just saying he's demented. Let's throw him in the underneath the bunker of the ballroom. It's crazy town. I'm just amazed that people don't understand that to complete a massive USA revolution against the globalist bankster elites of the trillionaire world, the economy of sin, that it would not include war and casualties and massive aggression. This is not. It makes no sense to my mind, or how anybody could be compos mentis and think that, oh yeah, they're all just going to roll over and be like, yay Trump, we love you, it's great. We're coming, we're getting out of our. These people have such intense connections. We're talking decades and decades of not just allegiances, but brotherhoods, intense brotherhoods, a huge, satanic blackness in here. We're talking about evil that connects these people that we're having to go against. And I hope people can understand that that as you watch Diversion and as Trump puts out these chaotic things, it is about him saying over here, I have the best plan, but I'm not telling you about it, Doi. And so I think what we're looking at, there's a couple people have come out and said some interesting operations. When we look at Hegseth's, replacing the chief of staff, okay, in the army, very important, putting in his close military aide who used to be in charge of the 82nd Airborne, okay. And so what we're looking at with the Strait of Trump coming and the control, everybody's saying it's impossible. General McGregor, or Colonel McGregor, everybody, oh, it's impossible, it's impossible. I believe they have a plan to take over the heights of the Straits of Hormuz, and I believe it involves the 82nd Airborne. I think they're going to be deploying 82nd Airborne to take control of the heights, okay? And I think that they're probably going to deploy Marines to take control of Karg Island and other islands. And that, Trump coming out today and saying, well, somebody asked him, I think it was New York Times, what do you think about Iran, wanting to charge $2 million per $1 billion ship that comes through the Straits? And Trump said, what do we charge? You mean the USA? And just trolling him. It's not like Trump didn't hear. And this thing about trying to think that Trump is demented or any of it. Yes, Trump is sleep deprived. Yes, he doesn't sleep much. Yes, he drinks Diet Coke, whatever. I think we need to understand, okay, that if Trump misses a word here or there and is staying up all hours, it's because we are in literally a fight for our lives for this country. And the more that people analyze Trump and think that he is losing power, losing steam, the more you are kind of betraying the point. What is the purpose? Why are we here doing this second American Revolution? Why have we fought so hard to get here? Okay, in 2026, after everything that we've all been through, knowing there was going to be a war, knowing that this is a fight, this whole thing has been a war. And it is ongoing, people. And it will continue to be ongoing. It's not pleasant or fun. And that is the problem, is that we all want relief. We all want it to get better. Everything's great all of a sudden. We can go watch some movie on a streaming service. No, okay, no. Okay, this is not a summer soldier situation. This is the time where we have to stand up against the massive powers of the world, the satanic elite. They just got done on their side with what is the massive satanic holidays, okay, that they do over Easter. They're fueling up with their evil, And we need people to rein in their lower emotions, right? And get back to your virtues and understand what it means to fight a war against evil. It is massive and it requires our attention. It requires our commitment, perhaps some loyalty, perhaps just an understanding. Even when people are going off on Hegseth saying he wants he's an ultra Zionist wanting the construction of the third temple and Armageddon. I mean, it's just completely crazy. What Hegseth is putting out there and saying to the people in his guarded language, in his what he had said, oh, we're let me see, what did Hegseth say? He said, we are we are going to hold on, sorry. Oh, we shot this pilot was shot down on Friday. He's comparing this to Easter, not for blasphemy. He's saying the pilot was shot down on Friday, hidden in a crevice on Saturday, and rescued on a Sunday, right? And the message, God is good. And basically saying, this is the resurrection of America, okay? This is about completing the American Revolution 2.0. This is not about some Zionist crazy town of Pete Hegseth. The new putting in of the new chief of staff in the Army who led the 82nd Airborne for years. This is about basically what's coming, what's going to be the rollout of the control of the Strait of Trump that is coming. And so we'll watch and learn, right? And this is all as Bilderberg is going to be rolling out. I'll be talking about it more this week. With next weekend, we get the Bilderberg meetup. And Trump is, after Bilderberg, of course, then we're going to get the visit of King Charles to the USA, which has never happened before. Going to be very, very interesting. But with Bilderberg, this is going to happen after Rutte comes to the White House and everything that NATO has exposed itself as not being an ally of the United States. And there's going to be massive leverage here to do with Greenland, okay, and to do with, and Trump came out and said it today in his pressers. He said, this whole issue of NATO as a paper tiger, etc. He said it began with Greenland. It began with Greenland. So that gives you a big clue that behind the scenes, all of this exposing of NATO has been leveraging and negotiating and pushing the tariffs and the fact to show that NATO doesn't have any army outside of Turkey, right? That really is the only standing army that exists. Okay, that there is no military influence at all that could do anything versus the United States. And he said, I didn't really try hard. I just kind of said, hey, you going to come and help us here with this Iran thing? And they said, no, not our war, right? Because they're still in this World Economic Forum past tense, basically saying, oh no, we're still going for our crazy town, financial takeover that we had already planned with the AI infrastructure, the CBDCs, the shut you down with having no energy, controlling everything you buy, etc. Trump is saying, no, we're going with, how about we protect our hemisphere, and we're going to Greenland, and you're going to support us one way or another, and this is what we're doing here. This is the end game of the negotiations with NATO, and we're going to be seeing it coming out of Bilderberg, and they're going to be fighting hard, tooth and nail over it. But this Arctic control, everything there to do with minerals, rare earths, but also new trading routes. Okay, this has to do with China and Russia, and how things are going to be different and controlled really in a trilateral situation here. Not just trilateral, but Russia and China will be big players with the USA, and this is the brilliant plan that Trump said, I have the best plan, but I'm not going to tell you about it. And so as we watch what's going to go down with Iran, I want to just say, don't be hair on fire, okay? Remember that a lot of what you're seeing with videos, etc., have to do with what Israel is doing, okay? There's still if we want to talk about rogue countries, they're still just bombing and administer, just killing everybody, Christians, whoever. That's what they do, what they've been doing for decades. And that's not what the USA is doing. And so let's rein in the lower emotions. Let's get back to the virtues and the cognitive thinking. Let's think large about what we actually wanted to begin with this great awakening, what we wanted to begin with completing American Revolution 2.0 versus the City of London, the Pilgrim Society, the creators of the whole plan to take over the world and one world government based on economy of sin, the workings of the CIA, the MI6, Mossad, etc., to be the players in this, to steal all our money and use it for nefarious gains of trillions of dollars, stolen and taken underground, taken for breakaway civilizations, taken for what's coming in the what they had planned to enslave humanity, natural asset corporations, all of it. They're still going for it. We're still in the war, and we're still in the war on AI. It's happening here in the USA. All of this is still coming. There's steps. We have to take them one at a time. But we do have to kind of remember why we're here and how we got here, and use critical thinking. And you can call it 5D chess, whatever. I don't think that's the name for it. I think it's more just step by step addressing the Hydra, and always trying to get to the heart of the Hydra. And Trump keeps stabbing it, here and there and everywhere, trying to get to the heart, cutting off the heads, cutting off this, that, the other thing, cutting them down, cutting them off. And that's what keeps happening. And so, yes, there's going to be casualties. Yes, it isn't pretty. It never was going to be pretty. And I don't know why people thought it ever would be. It's already been hard enough. It continues to be hard. And, I pray every day for humanity. I pray for the triumph over the globalist regime control of the world and taking down the deepest of the trillionaire elite controlling what we have here with the energy dominance of the USA, trying to rip control back from what is their massive Iran operation that they've been doing for 50 years. And it's, I'm not going to say it doesn't suck for the Iranians. It totally does. But I think we're going to see some big changes soon. And hopefully the release of the Persians from their nightmare, okay, that they've lived in all this time, because the IRGC has been stealing everything from them, okay, and on steroids since Obama and Biden. So, and then Trump bringing us out of the the JCPOA, and basically saying nobody's been willing to do this, but we're going to do it, and that's what's happening. So I might leave it there. There's a lot more going on. Putin coming out and saying that he's talking about Egypt being a center for basically an energy hub that will connect with Russia, and that's why we're seeing Egypt, Turkey, Pakistan, etc., in the mix here hugely with the Iran negotiations. And we're seeing what could be pipelines instead of reliance on Strait of Hormuz, trying to hobble what is controlled there by Lloyd's of London and the Bank Street elites out of the City of London. And so this is, the Iran war is really establishing the USA as the dominant power of energy, the largest creator of crude oil, of LNG, and probably getting LNG into the petrodollar mix. And let's just pause and not contribute tons of awful energy into the eighth sphere or whatever, the simulation system, what they have with the capture of the energy of everybody's worry. Okay, worry is praying for what you do not want, right? So use your critical thinking, bring your virtues up to the surface. Really, it's all about here and now and local, and what you can do to be part of your local solution. Okay, that is what's most important. And this week we'll be talking about a lot coming up with what's going on with the AG. Interesting stuff might be happening there. It doesn't look like Todd Blanche will be there too long. Looks like Trump is signaling that won't be, that's not his mission. And so let's just keep watching and praying and being part of uh, what can actually, change things for the positive. And praying is huge, right? Prayers are paramount. Praying for that peaceful future where we don't have a giant cartel based on satanic economy controlling us in the whole world and sending us down to a slavery planet outcome. Prayer is paramount, and especially right now around Easter. So I have a lot more to say, but I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to get into it more uh, tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, I'm going to get more into it tomorrow. I think we need to uh, just kind of settle in here to wait and see what happens. With what's coming here with Iran, and to kind of rain down the mania and mayhem that's going on there outside in the media, and just kind of bring it back. So I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah, I am going to leave it there. I'm gonna get back with more tomorrow. This was always going to be a shorty for me tonight, but I wanted to present to you a different picture as we see the jobs numbers coming back up massively in March. 178,000 jobs. The reshoring is happening. It shows you something with the reshoring that of industry in this country. Not only does it show it was purposely deindustrialized, the total takedown of this country while stealing everything by the globalists in the whole uniparty corrupt Congress and Senate on the payroll, but also we're seeing it coming back, and that the massive money going into bringing these factories back into the USA, et cetera, show that they trust that whatever Trump is doing right now is above board and going to succeed. Both the tariffs and this energy war, financial war with Iran. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep building, and we wouldn't see a giant jump from what was supposed to be 60,000 new jobs into 180,000 new jobs. Massive, massive situation there. Triple the amount expected. So we're going to keep watching this, and we're going to keep, dissecting and drilling down. So I thank so much for watching today. We'll keep on. Yeah, as I said, prayer is paramount. Don't believe the chaotic crazy of what's going on out there in the media. Just keep watching with your eyeballs the reality of what's going on, and you can't necessarily even know, okay? Because media now is just it's chaos. Like it's very hard to find any truth, and you have to dissect basically through reading everything and knowing history and knowing what's going on with behind the scenes, who's coming, who's going, to actually understand how this is ticking along versus mayhem and videos and all of this. This is about completing the Second American Revolution. And so I'm going to leave it there with a quick, well, I will just say if you found anything valuable in this video, and you want to support the channel, greatly appreciated. Shoestring going on here right now, so always appreciate if you want to join and support monthly or make a donation. Ways to do so below. And my fantastic and awesome sponsor is C60evo.com. We're going to be doing a great show next week about combating Lyme and other viral bioweapon stuff next week. It's going to be great. But C60evo.com /YAFTV. Use the code YAFTV for 10% off. There is this amazing ability of this purest carbon 60. They call it ESS 60 because it is so incredibly pure. You really don't find this in other products on the market because of the purity, because of the lab, and because of how they're able to take out any solvents, anything used in the creation of this, which is in a reactor that mimics the activity of the sun. It is an incredible product that gets into your mitochondria. There was an incredible a study that came out recently that showed that how incandescent light bulbs and infrared, that they basically are mini infrared light bulbs that have the long red light waves versus the LED lights that are the short blue waves that disrupt your mitochondria, disrupt your brain function, disrupt pretty much everything, causing cellular ill health. One of the causes, of course, of I think escalating what people got with the shots, et cetera, with the sensors in their bodies, et cetera. Now I'm kind of going on a tangent, but what I mean is that you want to correct what's going on with your cellular health, and you definitely want to get rid of those LED light bulbs and not have Bluetooth enabled home, et cetera. You want to get rid of all that, and you want to get back to incandescent, but well, you also want to clean out your mitochondria, which is what this product does. C60evo.com/YAFTV. Use the code YAFTV for 10% off. Anybody who's ever donated to the channel or ever decides to will get 15% off, different code and link sent to you. And also, the incredible thing to know is that it's bought up by people, alternative, whatever you want to call it, integrative medicine institutions that are treating the big C, CNS disorders, brain dysfunction, all of it, and just for inflammation. Basically fighting inflammation by basically getting the garbage out of your cells so that you don't have the same inflammatory response, and you can think clearer, sleep better, and have more energy during the day. Plus, it has the lovely added addition of elevating your mood. It's just an incredible molecule, this incredible buckyball ESS60. So check it out below. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll dig into more particulars because there's also so much going on, of course, as people are fighting the fight here with the uniparty money going here and there to support Cartel Babylon versus the people. So we're watching as Trump is trying to thread the needle here to be like, could we get energy dominance? Could we get our massive, huge economic recovery going here? But we have to get rid of this this Leviathan that is attacking us from all sides. And so it was always going to be some casualties here, and yet it is extremely small so far. And so stay with it, stick with it, be a winter soldier, not a summer one, and we will carry on. And I will see you tomorrow. Happy Easter Monday, everybody. You are free.